second FA Cup final. And Hatchin! What a magnificent goal!
Good evening and welcome to All Things Sky Blue Transfer Talk. This is our episode where we're going to be talking about the midfielders. If you haven't seen us before, we have spoken about the goalkeepers and fullbacks, and we've also done centre-backs as well. So this is about midfielders. Before I bring my guests on, just remember where you can find us. We are available on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, X or Twitter as well. If you watch us on YouTube, please go and like and subscribe. If you listen to us on podcasts, please go and rate us 5 stars. We are available on Apple, Spotify, or wherever else that you get your podcasts from. We're sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. His logo is in the corner. He can do your steel fabrication work up or down the country, but mainly in the Coventry and Warwickshire area. We're partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar, the Sky Blue Tavern, and also the brewery, which is quite close to the CBS Arena. And we've also in association with Sports Social Network and Sky Coventry Ladies as well. So after that mouthful, let me bring my guests in. First of all, bring in Cam. Good evening, Cam. You okay?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. And Glenn. Good evening, Glenn. How are you?
Good evening, Stu and Cam. We're back again.
We are back again, and we're talking about midfielders. Obviously, we'll talk about the current crop that we've got at the moment and then talk about our transfers. So let's get straight into it. So midfielders. So we'll start with the Coventry Player of the Year, which is Jack Rudoni. For me, I thought he was a brilliant signing at the start of the season anyway. I thought he started off quite slowly, but he gradually got more and more into the team under Mark Robins. And then I think under Lampard, who he comes out and says that is his favourite player anyway, he's absolutely grown into that midfield role and is probably a must-keep in this transfer window. I think he's probably ahead of, for me, Milan. I would rather get rid of Milan than Jack Rudoni at the moment, especially because we've got Kane, Kessler-Hayden in there as well. Glenn, what did you think of Jack Rudoni when he first come in, and how are you feeling about him in this season coming up?
I had a bit of scepticism about him. Obviously, I know Huddersfield fan quite well from obviously doing the podcast and stuff, and he had a bit of a worry that Rudoni was a bit of a bad apple, maybe had a bit of an ego on him, thought he was a bit better than he was, and he kind of maybe down tools towards the end at Huddersfield when the going got tough. But I can categorically say that's not the player that I've seen play for Coventry City. I think he's got better and better and better. And yeah, the only criticism I'd have is I think we miss his set pieces delivery now that he's in the box more because of his aerial threat. I think we miss his set piece quality. But yeah, you only got to look back through the season, the key moments where he stood up for us. There was lots of them, obviously. The goal against West Brom, the cross that set Patterson's goal up against Portsmouth, the winner, and obviously his performance in the last game of the season against Borough was really, really good. And then I think he was probably arguably one of the best players over the 2 playoff games as well. So, yeah, I agree with what you said. He's up there now as one of the best midfielders in the Championship by far. I would probably say he's in the top five now at least. Obviously, Sainz is gone. I don't think you're going to get many better than him. And the figures that I've been seeing from about Finnazaz at Borough, I think Rudoni is on a different level to Finnazaz.
Yeah, definitely. Cam, how about you for Jack Rudoni, mate?
Definitely our most saleable asset. I think when I say most saleable, I'm talking 20, 25 million. Basically means go away, you can't have him. double figures in both goals and assists. I understand that in most cases it's very, very hard to keep a player in midfield when they've done that. But I think we can keep Rudoni, and I think we can continue to build the team around Rudoni. And Rudoni's still got room to grow as well, which for me is very exciting, knowing that he can get even better.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, for me, he is up there with the best midfielders in the Championship. Providing he can stay injury free. He has got that slight shoulder issue now that we've got to hope that doesn't reoccur after his brilliant goal against Oxford, landed on his shoulder, dislocated his shoulder, or his shoulder popped out. And sometimes they say that once it's popped out once, it's quite easy to pop out again. Touch wood, it didn't do that for the rest of the season. So hopefully he's built on that and he's made his shoulders stronger and he'll be okay. So moving on then, because obviously we have got a lot of midfielders. We've got quite a lot of midfielders to go through. So I'm not going to run through them very quickly, but we will talk about each and one of them, but there is a lot. So next one that we're going to talk about is Sakamoto. So, Glenn, I'll go to Cam first. Cam, how do you feel about Sakamoto?
I think as the season progressed, he got better and better. I think he had a slow start to the season because I think he'd just come back from his back injury. I think psychologically that would have affected him for a while. But as he progressed, I think he got better and better. And I think taking away recency bias, I still think that away leg against Sunderland was his best performance in a Coventry shirt. I think it was absolutely fantastic. And I think he's still got a lot to offer this season. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see more of Cats in a Coventry shirt this season.
Okay. Glenn?
I don't think I can say much more else than Cam said. I agree with him. I thought his performance against Sunderland away was absolutely superb. And he's got back to the level that he was showing before the injury. And yeah, you know what you're going to get with him. He's a 7 out of 10 minimum every game he puts on. He runs through a brick wall for the club. He gets stuck in. He does the donkey work. Him and Milan on form together is a joy to watch. And yeah, he's just a generally likable bloke. And yeah, really think he's got a big season coming up for us.
I'm going to slightly disagree with the pair of yous. Don't get me wrong. Look, I do like Tats, and what he does is good. I think sometimes against more physical opponents, he can be muscled out a little bit too much for me, and I think he can go missing in games. I don't think he's a solid 7 out of 10 constantly. I think sometimes he is sort of maybe a 4 or a 5 because he goes missing. That's not to say that I don't think we can. That he's still there, and I think sometimes with Tats, it's the fact that he's got no competition really. Because somebody that we'll talk about in a minute is Raphael. He came in, we thought he was going to rival him, and he hasn't really hit the ground running. So a little bit like Milan, they've had no competition to really push them. So you know that they're going to be starting as long as they're fit. So I think that's kind of hindered him slightly, just because he, again, the same with Milan, his form dipped as well. I think the same happened with Tats. I thought he grew into the Sunderland game away, and I thought towards the end, yes, definitely he was back to his best, but I thought he grew into it. I thought he started off a little bit quiet, a little bit slow. And yeah, it's one of them that I think he needs competition. I think if you get in competition, I think you will see the best out of him. But against physical opponents, because he is still quite small and petite, and I'm not taking anything away from small and petite guys, because you look at Messi, is one of the best, ever kind of thing. But I just think he's got to stand up a little bit more and be counted a little bit more. Sometimes I think he can go missing. But saying that, I hope this season we do see the best Tats, because on his day, he is really, really good. But he is slightly older. He is 27, 28 years of age. He's not a young sprog. So I do expect a little bit more from an older person. A younger person, you can kind of get it because they're bedding in, but Tats isn't a young guy, and he has been in England now for 2 years with us. So I just expect that little bit more from him, really. Next one that we'll talk about is Josh Eccles. Glenn, I'll come to you first. How do you feel about Josh Eccles this season? Because I think it's a little bit of it's a funny season for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I think his season kind of reflected the team. I think he did really well when we were kind of struggling. And then when our form improved, he was really good and key to it. And then he kind of just tailed off. And the frustration was he really made a difference when he came on against Sunderland in the away leg. And then he got injured. And obviously, we're recording this the day after we played Monaco. And I sat there watching the Monaco game, I know we're going to talk about Torp and Allen later. And I'm thinking, we really miss Josh Eccles just for his ability to just physicality and probably just his ball winning and defensive side. I think he does get a lot of criticism off fans, and he did put some really, really good performances in last season. I think the Spurs game, I know we lost. I thought he was really, really good against a good Spurs team, and he's added goals. And I definitely want to keep him. I don't see this drive to get him out the door because I think he gives you options, and he's actually got a real good cross on him when he wants to. He can really ping a good ball in the box, and he's a goal threat. He's added goals to his game, so he's somebody that I wouldn't be top of my list to be moving on. And it's a shame he's injured and he's probably not going to start the season for us because I think he would give competition for Grimes and Sheaf and whoever else is in our midfield.
Okay, Cam.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think before Robbins was lost his job, I think Eccles was the stand-up player in a difficult period. I think he was doing really well, consistent. And then I think when Lampard came in, sometimes it happens with a change of regime. Players who are struggling end up improving, becoming even better. But on the flip side, that means players who are doing well in the old regime, they become less involved. And that was Eccles. And while he was still in the squad regularly, still getting regular minutes, he was just starting less often. And it's a lot harder to make an impact when you're not starting as often. I still think he has a place in the squad. I see a desire to move him on, but I personally don't subscribe to that same desire. I think he's very, very good keeper around, very good squad option, and when he's needed for a string of starts, he's very useful.
Yeah, I am in a slight agreement with you. I think he is a squad player, and I think that's kind of. I don't want to say that's all he is because he did change the game against Sunderland when he come on, and it was a shame that he did get injured because he was a shining light. I remember I was there, and he was a big difference. You can't take that away. But with the midfielders that we have got now, I do find it hard to put him in the starting lineup. Under Robbins, I think he was one of Robbins' boy, and I wouldn't be surprised, put it this way, if Stoke came in for him and he went to Stoke. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Do I want it? Probably not, because I think he's a good championship player. Whether it's a top 6 championship player, I'm not sure. I think he needs to improve a little bit more with his ball retention and his ball carrying a little bit, just like Sheaf does, just like Grimes does. I think he's ahead of Allen. But do I put him ahead of Torp? Probably not. I think Torp will just have the edge on him. And then obviously you've got Sheaf and you've got Grimes and you've got Rudoni all vying for them central midfield berths or them midfield roles. So I think it is harder for him to get into that starting lineup. But like I said, he is a good squad option, just like you guys mentioned there. So the next one we'll talk about is Ben Sheaf, our captain, and as far as we're aware, is still going to be the captain this season as well. Haven't heard any changes in that department. Keep Ben fit. Keep Ben Sheaf fit, and for me, he's a starter. He's one of the best midfielders in the league when he's fit and on his day. Cam, it's just about keeping Ben Sheaf fit, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he needs to stay fit now. Like, if he wants to have a long-term future at the club, just in the sense that our midfield it's becoming more stacked. We've got other good midfielders now. We've got Grimes is probably the top midfielder of the club now, and Sheaf is very good. Grimes is constantly available. We need Sheaf to be available consistently as well, especially with other midfielders coming through. You've got Torp who can offer competition. Eccles is useful on his day. You've got Kai Andrews coming up. I'm sure we'll get to him later. And I hear a rumour about us signing a midfielder from Venezuela, who's only going to spice things up in midfield. So if Sheaf wants to be a regular starter this season, the injury bug really needs to stay away.
Yeah, definitely. Glenn?
I just think Sheaf still at the club gives us more headaches than him not being at the club, because I'm not convinced him and Grimes as a midfield two in the current setup we have work as well. And I don't know whether Sheaf can become that box-to-box goal-scoring midfielder that we kind of need. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The problem is if Grimes' injury record continues as it is, he hardly misses a game. So he's not going to give Sheaf opportunities to take his slot. And I'm not convinced Sheaf and Grimes as a pair work. So yeah, it's a bit of a headache.
Well, if that's the case, then do you keep Sheaf as a Grimes backup? Because if we're winning, I'm going to say it, if we're beating Leicester 5-0, we're probably not, by the way, for people that are listening, but if we're beating Leicester 5-0, surely you take Grimesy off and put Sheaf on. Or for cup games, you give Grimes a rest and you bring Sheaf on. Because we want to be in all competitions, don't we, still? So do you think that's an option, Glenn?
I think it is. I just don't know whether Ben Sheaf will want to be second fiddle. I mean, obviously, his performances, especially you look back to the Man United game and the Wolves game, he was really, really good to those games. And we just haven't seen that level of performance from him. And that is a case. Has he gone stale? Does he need a change of scenery? But yeah, I'm not sure what his role in the Coventry City team is at the moment if everyone's fit. And I think the midfield conundrum of the three midfielders, because I think we're all safe to say it's Grimes, Rudoni, and then it's another. And the another is the big headache at the moment, because I don't think any of them I either trust him to stay fit enough to keep in the team, or the form's going to be good enough to stay in the team. Obviously, we'll talk about Torp later, but yeah, Torp is a bugbear of mine at the moment.
Right, well, we'll come on to that in a minute. So let's go to the ever-present Matty Grimes. He was our January signing, Lampard's first signing as well. What's more to say about Matty Grimes? He's ever-present. He has had a few rocky games, but coming into a new team, I think you're going to have teething problems. But I think Matty Grimes, I think this season is just going to show his absolute best, isn't he?
Yeah, I agree with that. I am a firm believer of no Grimes, no playoffs. I don't think the playoffs would have been a possibility if he didn't come in. He transformed the midfield, in my opinion. I think you can have good individuals, but the setup of the midfield was not right until Grimes came in. In fact, I would even give Grimes the armband. Sorry, Ben, but this is like a Joe Root situation in the cricket. Great cricketer, but you're not a leader. You're not a good leader. Grimes is an excellent leader. I think he's a great leader. He dictates play. And I know there's some people who criticise how deep he goes, but I think if he doesn't go deep, the fullbacks are not going to have the license to go forward like we want them to do. So I think Grimes is very important. He gives us a lot of tactical flexibility. First name on the team sheet, without a doubt, in my opinion.
Okay, Glenn, do you agree?
Yeah, I think the only thing I want to see from him is I want to see more in terms of better set pieces, better corners, free kicks, delivery, and I want to see, can he play that 20 yards higher up the pitch and play those killer balls through to our number 9 or our attackers. That's something I haven't yet really seen from him. But yeah, I agree with Cam. He would probably be up there as player. If he played the full season, I think him and Rudoni would have been a very, very close shout for player of the season, because yeah, he barely had a bad game for us. Matty Grimes said he was superb.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think with giving him the armband as well, I think you might see a little bit more of a free-flowing Ben Sheaf, because I think the weight would be lifted off him. So I wouldn't be against Grimesy taking the armband, because he is a leader. He was Swansea captain, and he was captain for a reason. You know, he's ever present, and that's what you need. You know, you need somebody that's ever present, really. So next one, we'll go on to Jamie Allen. He has signed a 1-year extension at the when his deal was up, if you like. He was one of the ones to leave, but they gave him an extra year. I think he is a squad player. I think he's been a squad player for the past couple of years, if I'm honest. But sometimes when he's come on, he just shows you what we're missing, really, because he can do everything on his day, and it's a pity that he's not maybe 5 years younger, because if he was, I don't think he'd be a squad player. I think he'd be a starter. Glenn, how do you feel about Jamie Allen?
He's the king of the comeback, isn't he? Every season we seem to write him off, and then he comes back. I mean, like the form he had in the season we made the playoff final, you thought, well, he's probably not going to be able to back that up. Then he had the heart problem. Then he come back in the team and was doing really, really well. And then unfortunately got his jaw broke by Bernard. And then last season he was kind of in and out. And then he came back in and was superb. And yeah, the Sunderland performance in the home game where he bossed 2 of the best midfielders in the Championship was outstanding. But then I looked at him yesterday against Monaco, and it was the same problem, that it's the lack of physicality that he has, and he can get bullied. So that's the only thing. But yeah, he's definitely a good squad player, definitely good for the group. I think he's well liked. You know what you're going to get with him. So yeah, but I suppose he's like anybody. If we got a decent offer coming for him, he probably will move on. I don't think we have better options than him at the moment in the club. So we keep him, and that's it.
Okay, Cam?
Yeah, I agree in the sense. Very useful squad player when called upon. He rarely lets us. He rarely lets us down. Sometimes for lack of physicality, it does shut him out of games. But what you're going to get with it is 100% effort. The only question is now is at the stage of Kai's development, is Jamie Allen blocking a path for young Kai? And if he is, I wouldn't be too sad if he was gone, because I want to see that pathway for a young player to come through who has shown potential to break in, which I'm sure we'll get to later. So he's useful to keep around, but if a good offer comes in, I probably wouldn't think twice in accepting it. But he's been a great servant over the years. Okay,
fair enough. We'll move on to Jamie Patterson. Lived another January signing, but lived every Coventry's, fans' dream, didn't he, Glenn? He scored that goal against Portsmouth last minute with Rudoni, with a beautiful goal. Was it the right thing to release him? I think it was. I think it would have been harder for him to get into the side. He had limited minutes anyway, but what he did was what every Coventry fan wanted to do, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we had a crystal ball, hindsight's a great thing. If we knew that Haji Wright was going to be struggling with his injury, then maybe Patterson would have been a good option as backup for EMC, because at the moment we'll end up playing Brow left wing. That's our option at the moment. So, but yeah, I don't blame him. He got a good deal at Plymouth. I mean, it's probably a decent wage as well, and he's got security. So he probably at that time of his career, he doesn't want to be hopping from club to club to club every season. So yeah, he'll do a good job at Plymouth, and yeah, he'd give us a good memory. And yeah, it's a shame that he never really got a run of games for us. But yeah, it was very hard with the performances that the other players were putting in.
Definitely. Cam?
Yeah, blink and you'll miss it. But in that blink, it was a fantastic moment. That kick against Portsmouth that led to the goal. That might be genuinely one of my favourite moments of the season, just because the hometown boy achieves every Cov fan's dream, wins a game for Coventry. I think he maximised minutes he was given. I think his legs, in terms of championship level, his legs are gone. But at Plymouth, he can definitely offer something. I think it was the right decision to release him, but in the short time he was here, he plugged a gap, and I thought he did really well with minutes he got. So thank you for your brief service, Jamie.
Lovely. Let's move on to EMC, Mason Clark. For me, I thought he started off slow. Obviously, we signed him the summer before, and then he came in the year after, I think it was. And he started off slow under Robbins, but under Lampard, everyone can see, what he was all about. His goal against, his assist for Rudoni against, I want to say Hull, I believe.
It was Hull.
Was it Hull? Yeah. Was just epitomised what it's all about. It was brilliant, taking two players on, step overs galore. And it was just a brilliant ball over for Rudoni to score. Strong. And I want to see more of that. I want to see, again, with the player that he is, the type of running that he does, he is prone to be getting injuries. We've just got to hope that the injuries that he gets doesn't keep him out for too long. And it's, a week or two. And that's why I think having competition, whether that's Raphael or whether that's Sakamoto on the left or whatever, or Brow maybe now, as he's played there a couple of games. I don't think that's where he's going to end up, if I'm honest. But I just think that we need a little bit more cover for EMC, because the way that he runs and the way that he plays football, he will pick up injuries. And we need cover for that position. Cam, how do you feel about EMC?
Yeah, I really, really like him. I think to start with, I feel like he was being set up to fail, because there's a lot of games where he was involved, but he wasn't playing in his natural position. And then of course he's going to struggle. He's not playing in his strongest position. And Lampard come in. I think he hit the ground running when Lampard came in and went on a really fine run of form. Unfortunately, got injured, but when he come back, he just progressively got better and better. You could sense there's a bit of an aura with him. Very physical, very quick, very agile. But I think, and to remember, this is only his first season in the Championship. I think this season is going to be a really, really big year for him, and I genuinely think he's going to be one of the breakout stars in this team. I am very confident in what he can achieve this year.
Nice, like it, Glenn.
I think we saw under Lampard the player that Darragh McAntee was saying had the potential to tear up the Championship, and yeah, I think if he can replicate that form that he showed pre the hamstring injury against Plymouth, then yeah, I think we've got a player who will probably go very close to double figures for goals and assists next season. Which, if you add that in, obviously we've got Rudoni as well, and we've got Sakamoto. If you can do that, that's a lot of goals you're getting from midfield. So yeah, definitely think he's got a point to prove, and yeah, he's only going to get better.
Nice, like it. Let's move on to Victor Torp. I think Torp gets a little bit of not a rough deal, because I think some of the comments is warranted. Glenn's huffing and puffing already at me. I like Torp, and I think, he set up, Haji Wright against Sunderland for two balls that he actually put through. We know that he can score a wonder goal and a wonder free kick. I think sometimes he can Again, his ball retention a little bit like Eccles, but I think he's a better player than Eccles. But he has got to sort out his ball retention. We will go to Glenn first to get this one out the way. Glenn, how do you feel about Torp?
It's just so frustrating. It's just so frustrating. I'm trying to think if he reminds me of. He's just got this. On his day, he looks a different player. That player we saw against Man United when he came on as sub was absolutely brilliant. Ran the show, hit an absolute worldy volley that Onana saved, scores the goal. And then yesterday I watched him and he just gets bullied. He gives the ball away. He just plays negatively. He plays safe. But then, like you said, you've got the player who scored a worldie against Luton. I just don't know what he is, and I don't know where we get the best from him in the COF team. That's my worry at the moment, because he's definitely not a defensive midfielder, which is what he was playing at times against Monaco, because he just gets bullied and he gets done like Sheaf used to do. Balls fizz into him. Anyone presses him, they just nick it off him and they're straight through. He's not physical enough for that. He reminded me of that when he played Blues away, where he just got bullied. But then, if you play him higher, he's got real moments of quality. But I just don't know. I don't know if he doesn't nail it down for me. I think our best midfield three would probably be Torp, Rudoni, and Grimes, because that'll get you plenty of goals. But I don't think Torp will string 10 games together of a level that would keep him in the side. So, yeah, he's a frustrating player, and I want more from him. And I just feel that he could be one at COV who's just not going to fulfill his potential. Unfortunately, it's going to be somebody we just go, if only. Another Ben Stevenson or Bigorama has all the tools, but just never does it on a consistent basis. And yeah, you think, what, I want more from you. Or Tom Bayliss, exactly, or that Shipley. It's that sort of mould. Moments of quality, but moments of just utter Sunday League quality football.
Yeah, okay. Cam?
Firstly, I think you've done Torp really dirty. I don't think it's the same as that. I think there are times he does go missing. I think he's kind of like, he's an anti-Eccles, if that makes sense. His physicality is not as good as Josh Eccles' physicality, but on the contrary, Eccles is a lot more, and where Eccles is also a lot more athletic. But on the contrary, Torp is very good technically, where Eccles is a bit limited in that regard. So they're kind of like, they're both number 8s, but they shine in different qualities. So if only you could mould Eccles and Torp together, you'd have a really, really good number 8. But I think it is worth considering that his end product for a number 8 is very impressive. I think he played 36 games last season, and he scored 6 times, and he assisted 4 times. So his end product is still an asset. It's just a matter of trying to find consistency out of him. If you do that, we've got an asset. I definitely think he is the underrated gem in the squad. You just got to extract consistency out of him.
Nice, like it. Okay, so we'll briefly talk about Raphael, because he hasn't had much of a look in really under Robbins or Lampard. I think I don't know. I want him to be brilliant. I really do, with everything that I've heard from him. But Cam, I just think that he's obviously not doing something in training that we're not seeing. He seems to be getting on with everybody. You know, he's having a laugh. He looks a great lad behind the scenes. But is he doing it, do we think, on the training pitch?
It's hard to say, really, isn't it? Because the moment he joined, he got injured, and then that's set him back since. He's had minutes here and there, but not really enough time to show us anything. Then he gets injured again. Then he's just not involved, and then he's not really played a single minute in this pre-season. So it's really, really hard to get a clearer picture of him. And I sympathise with him a bit, because he's come from the other side of the world, Australia. It's very hard. A lot of good players from Australia, they go to England and they struggle just because it's so hard. But then on top of the injuries, it's very, very hard to see where he stands. It's hard for me to say what I think will happen with him. Maybe a loan, but I honestly don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Glenn?
It's a bit of a mystery because you watch some of the City Unseen clips. He does some real good moments of magic, some good finishes, but yeah, he just can't seem to stay fit. Unfortunately, there's a story with a few other COF players. I would probably say if he doesn't feature any games in pre-season, then I think we've got to look at moving him out somewhere. I don't think he's going to learn anything playing under 21s football, and you can't really throw him in against Luton in the Carabao Cup if he's not played any minutes in pre-season. But I think there might be something there, but we don't know. And playing under 21s football isn't really going to benefit him, unfortunately.
No, that's right. Okay, fair enough. And a quick mention then, Cam, because Cam would absolutely batter me if we didn't mention him. Kai Andrews, he had a really good loan spell at Motherwell. He got man of the match against Rangers. If you listen to us on our X Space on a Sunday night at 9 o'clock, Cam does a loan watch, which obviously will be going this year because we have got a couple of players out on loan, maybe more. But he really did a really good loan watch for us last season. So thank you very much for that, Cam. Kai Andrews, what are you expecting from him? I do quite like him, and I would like to see him get more minutes. He's got minutes in pre-season so far. How are you feeling about him this season, Cam?
I'm very excited just because that loan spell at Motherwell, although he was in and out of the team, that does happen with some young players. But when he was used, I thought he maximised his minutes. And when you're a player full night at Ibrox, you boss the midfield, there's something about you. Because I've seen world-class players go to Ibrox and they've been terrified. But he wasn't terrified. He took on Rangers and he was part of the winning team. I think he comes back all full of confidence. I think physically he's really impressive. He's kind of the opposite of Alan, where Alan gets bullied very easily, but Kai Andrews is the opposite. He's already very physically impressive, very physical, and he's getting stronger. Technically, I still think he's pretty good, but still has a lot of work to do as well. But I look forward to working with that. I kind of see him in that Jamie Allen squad role where when called upon, he's useful, and maybe in the Carabao Cup he gets a start against Luton. I really, really have a good feeling about Kai Andrews.
Nice. Okay. Glenn, how do you feel about Kai?
I haven't really seen much of him, but what I've seen, I do like it. And yeah, I think he's much like Callum Perry. He's definitely got a chance to stake a berth in the first team squad. And they're going to get it in pre-season, and they seem to be doing all right. So yeah, positive. And yeah, if Bellamy rates him, then I think we've got to rate him.
Nice. Lovely. Brilliant. Right. So let's get down. We've spoken about our current crop. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. I hope both of you have done your homework. I know you have, because I know you're both SWATs. So that's fine. Right. So I'll start with my first one. As the same that I did for the goalkeepers, fullbacks and centre-backs, I've gone for a loan, free, and a transfer. So for my loan one, I've gone for Amari Kellyman from Chelsea. He's left-footed, but he can play as an attacking midfielder, striker, or right winger. So he does like to hog that right-hand side and come in onto his left. He played in the Prem 2. He played 24 games. He scored 10 goals and got 2 assists, and he's only 19. Obviously, we have been linked with another Chelsea player, midfielder as well, but not Amari Kellyman. So have you heard of Amari Kellyman, gents? How do you feel about him? I'll go with Cam first, sorry.
Yeah, I've just pulled up his stats now. Previously at Aston Villa, he went to Chelsea. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, he looks very good. I believe he's also an England under 19 international. Definitely worth an option. Yeah, I like that shout.
Good, Cam. Glenn, sorry.
Yeah, I've heard the name. Wouldn't surprise me if we get a Chelsea loanee in. Obviously, the other lad that's been linked is Lloyd Dyer's son, which is Kayano Dyer. So yeah, I'll be amazed if we don't get a Chelsea loanee from some form, given Lampard connection.
Yeah.
So,
I know.
Yeah, I think it's if you want to place a bet on something, that's a that's a shoo-in to happen, I think. Yeah.
It won't now, though. If I put a bet on it, it won't come in. Right. Glenn, we'll go for your first one.
Okay. I'm going to slightly cheat because this is one that is probably going to happen because it's been all over
Shocking.
Cov Twitter today. But he is a name that I was aware of, and Cam will back me up. He's a name that that has been floated around. It is Daniel Pereira, who is Venezuelan. He has just turned 25. His birthday was on the 14th of July, 2000, and he is currently playing in the MLS. So he apparently was a target for Cov City around 2023, potentially to come in as Hamer's replacement. But unfortunately, the deal fell through. But Dean Austin did talk in a recent interview that he had been in for an MLS player, and it is potentially was potentially Pereira, or it could be the second name who I'm going to mention, but I will save that for later. But yeah, looks very promising. He is out of contract, I think, in 6 months' time. And he basically said that the reason he didn't join Cov was because he was in the process of getting a green card for US residency and didn't want to jeopardize that by moving over to the UK. But he has got his green card now, and the information I've seen is quite positive. That he's a bit Hamerish, gets stuck in, puts himself about. He's not the biggest player, but he does a lot of like O'Hare does, the recovery runs to press and turn possession over. So yeah, he could be someone who we're looking at playing that 8 role in the midfield 3 alongside Rudoni and Grimes.
Okay,
it's about
nice.
4 million, I think. They were for 4 million or so, I think was the fee they were saying.
Okay, Cam, how do you feel about him? Even though
Yeah.
we've heard about him all today, to be fair.
Yeah, I was just checking him now. He actually played last night. He played a full night against LA Galaxy. They won 2-1. He played a full 90. His passing is really good. I'm just looking up now. He's got a pass completion rate of 91%, a long ball accuracy of 72%. So his passing ability is definitely something I think would be an excellent addition to the squad, because we like to maintain possession, keep hold of the ball, and I think as an energetic number 8, that could be how Lampard wants to play. You have Grimes who sits in, you have Pereira who'll be the box-to-box combative midfielder, with him Rudoni creating magic in the number 10 role. So I'm very, very excited about that prospect if it were to happen.
Lovely. Haven't heard of him since today, to be fair. I did see the interview with Dean Austin, and at this point we must say we actually don't know anything. We are just speculating, but these are the rumours that are going around. Cam, do you want to give us your first one?
Yeah, my first one, this is someone I've been a really big fan of for a while. It is Lennon Miller of Motherwell. How realistic it could be, I'm not sure, because I think he's valued very, very highly now. He's got like a market value of 8.8 million. So it could be a case where Lennon Miller is picked up from a top side and maybe he goes on loan here. But either way, I would really like him in a Coventry shirt. I think he's the future of Scotland's midfield. I think he's got a future at the top of football. I think if we were to have Lennon Miller either on loan, which might be more likely, if he goes to a top side, or maybe we do break the bank for him, I think I would have a lot of fun seeing us develop Lennon Miller. I think he's got such a bright future in this game.
Nice. Okay. Have you heard of him, Glenn?
Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah, he's potentially the next big thing out of Scotland, and but I think he'll be a target for like tactical Rangers or probably one of the mid-table-ish Premier League clubs. You know what I mean? Someone like that will take a punt on him, I think.
Okay, fair enough. I haven't heard of him, to be fair, but I'm sure Kai Andrews would know him very well, having been with him last year. So he may be in Lampard's ear about him, potentially. But we will see. Glenn, we'll go to your second one.
My second one is a player whose goals and assists record last season was better than Lionel Messi in the MLS. It is another player who's been linked to Cov in the past, Evander, Brazilian midfielder, currently at FC Cincinnati. And yeah, his stats are crazy. And yeah, to be better than goals and assists than Messi in the MLS is ridiculous. And yeah, but he is a standout performer over there, and he's one of their like marquee players. But yeah, he would be someone I think I'll be looking at if Rudoni went maybe as our replacement for him. But yeah, I think he would probably cost 8 million plus, but I think he would definitely be a good investment with the goals and assists he contributes.
Nice. I have heard of him. I've heard of him. I think, weren't he the one in the crowd that everybody thought that was there?
Yeah, he was the one that people seem to think had come. It could be him who was the one that in the Dean Austin interview about that he asked for more money than he asked for a ridiculous wage given what Cov knew he was on it, but would fit the guy's character because I do think he is a bit of a maverick. But yeah, he was somebody else who just caught my eye.
Okay, Cam, have you heard of Evander? You must have done.
Yeah. In 2024, 15 goals, 15 assists in the MLS. In February 2025, he went to Cincinnati for 9.5 million. So far, he's already got 13 goals, 7 assists in 21 matches. Cincinnati as a number 10. That's fantastic numbers. I think the only way this would happen is if Rudoni was sold for like a ridiculous sum, because I genuinely think Evander would cost upwards to 15 plus million, because Cincinnati paid 9.5 million pounds just to get him. So we're talking 8 figures. So yeah, unlikely, but I love the shout.
Nice. Cam, your second one, please.
My second one is Charlie Savage from Reading. He played 45 games last season. He got 5 goals, got 9 assists. So 14 goal contributions in 45 matches. Reading just missed out on playoffs, but Savage, who is Robbie Savage's lad, he had a fantastic year in League One. I think he's ready for the step up. An energetic number 8 who could definitely provide competition for Torp, maybe play alongside Rudoni and Grimes. So I'm really, really impressed, and he's got a bright future in this game.
Yeah, definitely like him a lot. Obviously, I have heard of him. I think he is definitely one for the future. And if we could get him now and bring him on under Lampard, I think that would be a very good move for both, really, for Coventry and for Charlie. Glenn, what do you think about Charlie Savage?
Yeah, I think he could shout. I think he'd be a reasonable amount of money. Well, he wouldn't be a stupid fee. And I think Reading wouldn't stand in his way of letting him progress either.
Nice, lovely. Right, my next one, I'm going to actually cheat, and I'm going to say my next 2. Because I've gone for a free transfer on this one, and these 2 are still available on a free transfer, unless one of these 2 pick me up on something and they've signed somewhere else that I haven't seen. So my first one is Josh Brownhill from Burnley. He's 29, he's an older head, but he got promoted with Burnley. He hasn't signed a contract as far as I'm aware. And I just think him and Grimes and Rudoni would be an absolutely brilliant 3 to have in there. Before I get your comments on Josh Brownhill, my second one for a free transfer is Decore, links with Everton. He played under Lampard at Everton as well. I think Decore did I think it was Decore anyway, I might be getting this wrong, that did a video or an interview, and he said that Lampard rang him up and said that he wanted him to sign. Again, he's slightly older, he is 32, but he's still got the legs to go up and down on that Championship pitch. And I think he, as a double pivot with Rudoni, triple pivot with Rudoni and Grimes, I think he could do a job as well. How do you feel about them 2, Glenn?
I like the style of player. I would be amazed if they don't end up with Premier League clubs. I'll be very surprised, but they are exactly what you want. Someone who can box to box. I'm going to say leaders, because I think Decore led Everton at times. even though he wasn't captain, and he got goals, get stuck in. Both of them, and they've also got a bit of a nasty streak in them. So, yeah, I think they're model sort of player that we would have, but I would be very surprised if they don't get a Premier League club snapping them up. I think like a West Ham or somebody like that seems a sort of team who'd go and take them on board, I think.
Okay, Cam?
Yeah, I think I'm with Glenn on that one. I think two nasty footballers, but I think we'll definitely add a bit more bite to our side. I'm surprised that Brownhill didn't decide to stay with Burnley, so unless he's got a big move lined up. And I think with the core rate, I still think he has a lot to offer Premier League side. So as I would definitely like a player of that caliber at the club, but I think he's still got something to offer to the top flight.
Okay, fair enough. Glenn, we'll go on to your third one.
It's kind of a running theme with all three of these. They all play in the MLS.
God.
They all play in the MLS.
Go on.
But this one is somebody who kind of caught my eye in the Gold Cup for the USA. Kind of came out the blue. Diego Luna. He's only 20. Currently plays for Real Salt Lake. Can kind of play anywhere in like the attacking positions besides the striker. And chipped in with a couple of key goals for the US, who were very short on attacking threat because obviously Hadji Wright got injured. Josh Sargent wasn't out there. I think Aggie Man, who's now gone to Derby, was injured. So they were kind of struggling for goals. And Luna stepped up and scored some key goals for them. So, yeah, he's very good like tats. He can get a ball in a tight space, turns and got goals and assists. And I don't think he'd be stupid money yet. But obviously it's whether he'll want to move with it being the World Cup year for the US. That's the big question. But yeah, he's somebody who I would file under, keep an eye on, and he could be one of the standout performers in the World Cup for USA, I think.
Fantastic. Haven't heard of him, so I'll have to take your word for that one, Glenn, on that one. Cam, have you heard of Luna? I suppose you have.
Yeah, he had a very, very impressive year, a very impressive campaign with the US in the Gold Cup. I think my only concern is his market value, because I think his market value, being 21, having like a good goal record in the MLS, his market value is going to be relatively high. I think if his contract's up is New Year's Eve 2026, so I think maybe there's enough time in Luna's contract where maybe Salt Lake could still negotiate a high fee. So it's just definitely a process of seeing what would happen with that one, I think.
Okay, nice. Cam, your third and last midfielder, please.
Yeah, my third and last midfielder is Lewis Bate from Stockport County. A defensive midfielder similar to Matt Grimes, but I'm pretty sure he's right-footed rather than left. He played 32 times, got 2 goals, 5 assists. I believe Coventry were actually interested in him in January, but then Matt Grimes became available. So that meant when we moved on to Grimes, he came through the academies of both Chelsea and Leeds. He's had stints at Oxford, MK, and now Stockport, so he's moved his way back up the leagues. I think maybe we could revisit that this summer if we feel the need for another defensive midfielder to be Matt Grimes' understudy.
Nice. Okay, Glenn, what do you think to Lewis?
I think he's one of the standout performers for Stockport in their real good season they had. So yeah, I think he was one of the better midfielders in League One. So yeah, definitely. I don't think he'd cost that much either. So yeah, I think maybe that is the project if we're looking for a young midfielder to develop.
Nice. I like him. I do like him a lot. I can't remember how old he is. How old is he, Cam?
Lewis Bate is 22.
Okay, so still a lot of time to develop then as well under Lampard, because we know that Lampard is good at bringing midfielders on. He's done it with pretty much all of ours, really, to be fair. So yeah, like that a lot. Cool. Glenn, your third and last one, please.
You've already had my third one.
Oh, God, sorry. Sorry, mate. Sorry. I'm losing track. I'm the last one, and I. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right, so this is a transfer one. and it's still Stephen Alzate, 26 from Hull. Again, can play alongside Grimes. Hull, we know, are in a little bit of a financial trouble, so they may want to sell one of their stars. Maybe not Alzate, maybe another one, but I think Alzate is the standout midfielder that I would want out of Hull if we were going to go in for a midfielder. So I think he's valued about €3.5 million. So you might be able to get him maybe for about 3 million-ish, which isn't too bad for a 26-year-old that's still got a lot to offer, I believe. How do you feel about Alzate?
I like him. I believe they actually signed him on a free in September, and now obviously they might need to raise funds. They can maybe get a couple of million for him. I really like him. Like, he's very combative. He wins like 2.3 tackles per 90. He recovers the ball about 7.5 times per 90. So if you want a midfielder that runs a lot, is very combative, I think Alzate is a fantastic suggestion.
Thank you very much, Glenn.
Yeah, but definitely someone I heard. I think he was at Brighton as well. And then his contract went out. But yeah, he's definitely somebody I like the look of. I've just seen now, actually, that Josh Windass has been given a free transfer by Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, he should become available by the end of next week, I think it is. I think that's what I've read.
But I don't think he's somebody who's going to walk into our starting lineup. I think he'll be a squad player. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens with Sheffield Wednesday. But I think most of their good players have been snapped up. And obviously, while we're at it, we may as well talk about Carl Rushworth, who we said was liable to be coming and joining, and it seems like that's a deal that is on the way of coming through. So yeah,
who mentioned him? Was it you? Was it really?
I mentioned him, and you said that you'd had him on your transfer list before. I mentioned it.
The season before, I said.
The season before. So
I'm a year too late. But yeah, look, I think at the time, I think when I mentioned Carl Rushworth, I think he had he was playing a bit more football than he did last year, I think, if I'm right in saying. But look, we need a number one. And I've said it all along, and I'll keep saying it, whoever asks me about goalkeepers. I can't trust Collins. Collins has had no minutes in pre-season so far in the 2 games. I think that says a lot. And Wilson got both halves against Monaco. I didn't think he did himself any justice. I've seen that last goal. He didn't do himself any justice doing that either. So I think it shows that we need a number one, but if we bring somebody else in, someone's got to go. So whether Bell goes out on a loan, if he likes Collins that much, but he has had minutes in pre-season, Bell. So I think that shows that I think it might be Collins is the one to go, which I think is the right call to make. How do you guys feel about that, Glenn?
Yeah, I think Bell's the future. I think Bell, I would definitely play him against Luton and give him the first team experience, so he's got it under his belt. And then I think bringing a goalkeeper in, they have to be in by the Bristol Rovers game, because I want them to at least have 3 games to play with our defence. Yeah, otherwise, you're gonna have to start the season with Wilson in goal. You can't be having a goalkeeper coming just to start the season. It's just going to make problems on it.
Yeah. Cam.
To my understanding, I believe Rushworth actually rejected the opportunity to go to Union Saint-Gilloise on loan, who recently won Belgian Pro League. They've got guaranteed Champions League football. So I think to turn that opportunity down to play in the biggest competition in the world, to potentially come to Coventry, I think that shows how much pull we have now. And not to mention that it's a club, it's Brighton's partner club. But Rushworth seems quite adamant on joining Coventry, so I'm really, really looking forward to that.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Right, on that note, much appreciated for you two again joining me. It's been great fun having you guys talk about midfielders, obviously defenders, goalkeepers and fullbacks. So much appreciated on that, guys. Before I do tune off, though, guys, just remember where you can find us. We are available on X or Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Please go and like and subscribe. Instagram as well as TikTok. I think I've mentioned that. It is scrolling down the bottom as well. We're sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications, and we are partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar, the Sky Blue Tavern, and the brewery. And we are associated with Sky Blue, Coventry Ladies, and Sports Social Network. So on that note, once again, thank you very much, and tune in to our next one about the strikers. Thank you.